It's Climate Week in New York City, and here to talk about the latest developments in clean energy, our chief meteorologist and managing editor for ABC's Climate Unit, Ginger Z. Ginger, great to see you, but before we do get on the climate, I want to ask you about Hurricane Fiona, which just rolled through Puerto Rico. What's the latest track on that?
Yes, so it also blasted through Dominican Republic, and now just east of Turks and Caicos, it's making its way north into the Atlantic, into open ocean. We love to see that as things intensify because this is the first major hurricane of the season for us. We don't love that when it's close to land, so it's going to sandwich itself between Bermuda and mainland U.S. Far enough away from us that impacts will only really be about rip currents, high surf. Close enough to Bermuda that is flirting with trouble. So they could end up seeing proximity enough to see those outer bands. We will keep an eye on that. More importantly, probably, is we have a brand new tropical depression, 8. That one's going to stay and not impact anyone. But that 70% chance that you see there, those long-term computer models, Terry, that we love so much, trying to take that into or close to the Gulf of Mexico by late next week. We are still in just after peak of hurricane season, and a lot of hurricane season left to go.
It looks busy out there, but let's now talk about Climate Week and the climate. Ginger, this is fascinating to me. I remember when we followed you along on your electric vehicle road trip. I eventually got one. But now you're digging. Yeah, I did. But now you're digging deeper into what powers the vehicles. I'm very curious about that. I've got one of those Mustangs with the electric battery in it. So tell us, what have you learned?
So that's the thing, is I also personally got one, and that's where my curiosity began. It's why we started telling the EV road trip story, which really just answered, does it work? Then it was like, wait, what am I sitting on? And where did it come from? If this is the fuel of our future, we've got to know more. And so being invested in where our energy comes from, because believe me, we're going to have impact no matter what type. If it's a fossil fuel or if it's cobalt, nickel, lithium, we're going to have impact. And so that's what we're investigating. What you're seeing right there is the future of mining. That is core from a mountainside in Idaho, where they're doing mining like you've never seen before. This is not like hi-ho, like we think of mining, right? Like, this is drones, computer modeling, and being the least invasive and least impactful to the environment that we possibly can. There's a lot of money from the government going into critical mineral production and extraction here in the United States because it is the fuel of our future. So we look into that. We look in the past at the blunders, which are just on the other side of that mountain, one of the worst environmental blunders in history. And then we look into deep sea mining. And that is the part that is super controversial, but also could just be the key to our energy future. So you see that ship there, the Metals Company is one of a couple that have been investigating this zone. It's called the CCZ, just west of Mexico, about 200 miles in the Pacific Ocean. International waters, 15,000 feet down, you find these little nodules. It looks like a little tangerine-sized rock. Inside there, just sitting on the ocean floor, cobalt, nickel, manganese, and copper. So they're saying, hey, let's go suck those things up. Nobody's down there. Environmentalists are saying, hold the phone. We can't just start, drilling for oil haphazardly like we did back then. We need to make sure that we're not impacting some greater thing. My husband joked, like, what if whales have been eating those for millions of years? That is untrue. But what if other organisms have been relying on those and we throw off some other big circle of life?
It's fascinating. I do want to ask you, if this is the energy of our future, we're going to need a gigantic amount of it. Is it out there, and can we replace fossil fuels, or as much as we can, without damaging the environment further?
Well, no matter
how much energy we use. Yeah,
no matter what, we're going to impact. So number one thing is consume less. I know that's not as sexy as, finding new electric vehicles and finding a bunch of other minerals, but consuming less is first. Then the answer is really yes. But how we do it, how we get those minerals, and if we can do it in our country and move fast enough to make it happen, that's really the question. So Jervois, the company that's doing that Idaho mine, they can produce about 10% of our current cobalt needs. Only 10%. Yeah. The U.S. creates only a sliver of all of these globally. But we've got to do it because the DRC, for example, produces more than 60% of the global cobalt. And you've seen the pictures from the DRC. Child labor, big time issues with health. It is not a clean process there. We need to do it here, both economically and socially responsibly.
Absolutely. Got to get going. And it is such a great topic. Always love to have you on it. Ginger Z, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, be sure to catch Ginger's new special. It's called Lit. America's Future, streaming on ABC News Live tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be available on Hulu tomorrow, so check it out.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.